I don't know about all of you guys, but I have been playing video games ever since I was 3 years old. That's my earliest memory of it. Could have been playing when I was 2, I have no idea. But I've been playing video games since I was 3 years old, which means I've been gaming for 27 years. And in that time, as you could imagine, I have racked up some real hourage counts on a vast plethora of games. And today I thought it would be fun to show you my top 25 most played games of all time. These are not my favorite games of all time. These are just the ones I've played a lot. So you'll actually see what I was interested in when I was younger, in high school and college and stuff like that, and what I have really committed my time to in my adult life periodically. Some of these games I have not played in over 10 years either, and some of them are rough estimates for the hourage count. For example, PS1 games, I don't have my PS1 memory card, my PS2 memory card, or my saves on my PS3 for certain PS1 games anymore, so I'm not able to add up all the hourage. So what I did is I went to howlongtobeat.com and I just remembered the number of times that I've beaten the game and just estimated how long it would be. So those estimates are actually lowballing the number, sometimes under a few hundred hours possibly. So just know that some of these hourages are not 100% accurate, and if that's the case, I will mention it when we get to them. Otherwise, the hourage is exactly correct because the PlayStation 4 and 5 records exact hourage, and Steam does as well. I've got a few honorable mentions before we get into here. These games are games I've played quite a bit of. They're not necessarily, they wouldn't necessarily be number 26 because there's others that fall into that PS2, PS1 era that probably maybe are more, but I don't quite know. And my honorable mentions are Elden Ring. My one playthrough took 108 hours. And I don't know if I'll play this one again because that was one single playthrough. And one single playthrough taking 108 hours is kind of a very, very hard thing to swallow. It's a very hard pill to swallow, especially with a full-time job and stuff like that. And the next honorable mention is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 109 hours. I actually don't really like this game that much, and the only reason I played that much is for this YouTube channel. I wanted to do my due diligence as a reviewer for the game itself by making sure I actually did at least most of the content. I did not 100% the game at 109 hours, and I actually had quite a bit left to go as well. I can't say I necessarily reflect positively on that time, but my review for that is one of my most viewed videos on the channel. I probably will not do part 3 unless people in my community specifically want my viewpoint on it, and that's the only way I'm going to do it, because I was not a big fan of this. But it is one of my more played games because of that, so I wanted to mention it here. Bloodborne, I have over 100 hours on this, I'm sure, but I did play on various machines, so I'm not really sure what the exact hourage is. And then Alien Isolation, I played 92 hours of in my life. That number is gonna go up because I plan to do a 100% completionist review next year, so that's probably gonna double almost because the completion for that game is quite intense. So number 25 here is gonna be Garry's Mod. So I was a Sea Nanners fan back in the day. I watched a lot of Sea Nanners, you know, right after high school and my first year of college, first semester of college. When I say I was a fan, I was a fan for like a month when he was doing a lot of Garry's Mod content. And yeah, I played a lot of Garry's Mod my first year of college. It was one of my big hobbies that first year. And I love Garry's Mod. It's something I wanted to go back and play again. But this is just one of those games where you got to get a group of friends together to play. And to be honest with you, all my friends are my age, and we don't have time to be playing Garry's Mod anymore. And anyone else that I played with, you know, they're either mothers or they've moved on to other areas of their life. And so yeah, I just don't have anyone to play this game with anymore. It was a really, really good time, and I still think about some of my fun, like insanely fun games from Garry's Mod back in the day. Number 24 for me is going to be Dark Souls 2. So this was actually my first Souls game, which is part of the reason I have 112 hours in the game, because I did a full playthrough, and your first Souls game playthrough is always going to be your longest one, because you've got a lot of getting good for Souls games. And so, yeah, Dark Souls 2 is the easiest of them for sure, but there was still an element of that for somebody who hadn't played the series, and the game is naturally longer than Dark Souls 1 or Demon's Souls, which were the games that came before. This is one I really, really enjoyed at the time I played it. I wouldn't have played it this many hours if I didn't enjoy it, But then, you know, I started playing the other games, I started watching videos on YouTube, and I got really convinced that Dark Souls 2 was a bad game. And I'm realizing as I go back and watch other videos about the game from H-Bomber Guy or Domo 3000 and his insane takedown of Mahler's objective analysis of the game, that I think I was gaslit into thinking Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin specifically, was a bad game. I actually think this is quite a good game, and I would love to replay it and really think about it again myself. But that won't be for a long time, because to be honest with you, if I do a Souls review for a From Software game that's not a first playthrough review, it's going to have to be a completion playthrough. It's going to have to be multi 100 hours, because I just really love From Software's work. Number 23 for me is going to be Titanfall 2 at 116 hours. This was an early COVID game for me, so this is an adult life game. I guess Dark Souls 2 is an adult life game as well, but Titanfall 2 is an adult life game for me. I was in my 20s when I played this one. I played with a lot of friends. Ryan, who you know from the channel, John as well. We played together. My brother and I played together. We loved Titanfall. Titanfall 2 is genuinely one of the best first-person shooters ever made in a multiplayer sense. I think the campaign was maybe a little bit overblown. I thought it was fine, but it is not my favorite single-player shooting experience. I think boomer shooters do single-player way better than Titanfall 2 does. But the multiplayer, I quite honestly, there's very few multiplayer experiences that I would put higher than Titanfall 2. Unreal Tournament I would, and Unreal Tournament is a game that very likely should be on this list, but it is one of those PS2 games I'm really not sure about. And I have no way of even guessing how much I have played that game for. So Unreal Tournament's the only multiplayer game I would put above Titanfall 2 in the FPS space, even though there's actually going to be other FPS titles above Titanfall 2 in this particular video. I wouldn't actually say that they're better. It's just that my friends and I, we played Titanfall 2, and then, you know, a few of them went off to do other things. COVID happened, some people lost their jobs, and we couldn't play anymore. So yeah, you know, life happened and it stopped us from playing anymore, but I really, really enjoyed the time that we had together on this particular game. Number 22 for me is going to be Final Fantasy IX. I have this approximated at 120-ish hours because I've beaten the game multiple times and I do challenge runs of this game as well. Actually, I have a video on the channel of my roguelike challenge run for this game, which I'll put a link for in the description below and maybe at the end of this video as well. Final Fantasy IX is fantastic. It's one of the first Final Fantasy games I actually played when I was younger. It was not the legit first, but it's one of the first. I find the characters to be super compelling, and I really like the gameplay. You know, Final Fantasy IX, one of the true and honest critiques of Final Fantasy IX that I think is a fair and legitimate one is that load times are kind of insane on it. The loading into a battle, the exiting of a battle, takes a long time. But that's not a problem on the remastered version because you can just speed up through that stuff, which I do all the time, and then you can get right into the gameplay, and it's a lot of fun. Actually, the speed up feature in Final Fantasy IX for my roguelike challenge is actually a real mechanic of the challenge, because you want to go through fast, right? You don't want to slow down, but because it's a permadeath challenge, sometimes you lock yourself into a no-win scenario by doing that, which has happened to me before. And yeah, I really do like the way that they chose to remaster this one and the features that they added to it, which normally I'm a purist. I like to have games the way that they were originally designed, but because of the load times and that being, you know, a hardware issue and not a design idea that they were really wanting to do, I feel like it's a little bit more forgivable. Number 21 is going to be Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I approximate this one at 120 hours too. I'm sure I played it actually more than Final Fantasy IX, which is why I'm putting it higher. But yeah, I did max level arcade towers for all 64 characters, grinded in the lab with all 64 characters, completed the campaign at least 3 or 4 times, 100%ed the game 3 or 4 times, played tons of hours of Mortal Kombat. I am lowballing this one. This one's a lowball by at least 100 hours. But it's just, I don't want to put it higher and without knowing for certain. And there's other games that are in this same camp of being lowballed into Oblivion that I probably played way, way, way more. This was a middle school game for me through and through. I got it in 6th grade, I think, and I played it all the way through middle school. loved Mortal Kombat Armageddon. And I really hope that that MK Legacy Collection that is coming out this year does really, really well, and that we get a second Legacy Collection with the 3D era packaged together, and we can play Armageddon again, because I would love to. Number 20 is Fallout New Vegas. I did 4 complete playthroughs of this, which I'm estimating took me 120 hours. It might be closer to 160. This was a transition game. I played this in high school, but then I also played it in college, and I have not played it since college. But Fallout New Vegas is a fun time. I very much enjoy the RPG systems here. It is not my favorite RPG, not by any means. It's not my favorite Fallout game either. My favorite Fallout game is actually the first game at this point in time. That might change later because I'm actually replaying 1 and 2 for a video that's going to come out later this year. And I'm going to re-rank the games after that happens because I want to make sure that my memories of those games are fresh before I rank. But yeah, Fallout New Vegas, really, really great game, and I did a lot of playthroughs of it. Number 19 is going to be Oblivion. I estimate this one at 130 hours because I completed the main campaign 7 times, which means I had 7 characters. Not all of these characters were completion characters, but one of them was, and if you know anything about 100% completing a Bethesda open world RPG, it's a very, very long experience, so I'm lowballing this one into Oblivion as well. But yeah, I very much enjoy this one. The remake came out earlier this year, and I just haven't had a chance to play it. And honestly, I would like to play original Oblivion and the remake side by side and do a video comparing both of them at some point in the future, whenever I can have the time to actually review all the Elder Scrolls games. Number 18 for me is Mortal Kombat 9, the 2011 genius game. I love Mortal Kombat 9. I'm lowballing this at 130 hours as well. This was actually the first PS3 game I had, and the only one I had for several months in high school, which means I played this game to death. I did max level completion with every character on the cast pre-DLC, so I didn't do it with DLC characters. And what I also did as the capping achievement that I have mastered a character in my own opinion was that I would go to level 300 of the challenge tower, which is a boss rush challenge, and I would make sure that I completed the game in the first try, because if you hit retry on that particular thing, the difficulty actually drops. So I forced myself to exit and re-enter, which is obnoxious for every character on the cast, and eventually I was able to do it. I loved Mortal Kombat 9, and I really wish I had all that stuff recorded because I would use that footage way more often in videos, and I just don't have a way of recording MK 2011. So yeah, man, my memories of MK 2011 are insane. I love this game to pieces, and we really, really need a re-release. I'd be fine with just a port, to be honest with you. I don't even need anything changed about it, but if they wanted to remaster it, I'm all for it. Please let this legacy collection do well. That way we can get all Mortal Kombat games purchasable on modern hardware. I really, really want that. Number 17 for me is Final Fantasy X. I have this estimated at 150 hours. I've done multiple playthroughs of this. I've beaten this game many times, and I don't speed my way through this game. I play it and I enjoy it. I'm not even counting the amount of time in my life I've spent watching the cutscenes again, because this is my favorite video game story. But yeah, Final Fantasy X, a big, big game for me. I played an insane amount of this, and I can't wait for my next playthrough. Number 16 for me is a college game, my freshman year of college, and it's Civilization 5. 4X games are a big time sink. 162 hours, which is what I have this exactly at, is honestly not that much for a Civilization game. I could have tripled this and still had more to do. I love 4X games. They're actually it's one of my favorite genres, and it's also the genre I played the least volume of games, because they're like, each game is a 100-hour process. So there's so many of them I want to play that I just haven't, because I don't have the time to dive in and really just have fun with the game. But Civilization 5 deserves to be here at 162 hours. Number 15 for me is Mortal Kombat Deception. I have this estimated at 170, but just like Armageddon, I did max level difficulty with every single character in the arcade tower multiple times, not just one time. I did 3 full 100% saves, not 100% conquest mode. I played conquest mode more than that a number of times, but 100% profile saves. So starting from the very beginning and unlocking everything. I have played this game to death. This is my favorite Mortal Kombat game for sure, and I would not be shocked if it should actually technically be higher. Number 14 for me, it's going to be Fallout 3. I did 7 full playthroughs of Fallout 3, 2 of which had all the DLC included in the playthrough. Each one of those playthroughs I timed out about 30 hours, and then, you know, my 100% playthrough is going to make up the rest for my estimate of 175 hours. I played a lot of Fallout 3. This was a high school game for me. I knew this game backwards and forwards. Yeah, this game is wonderful. I heard that they're possibly going to give this the Oblivion treatment. If they do, I would love to play it again and see what they changed. I think there's some easy wins that they could do, such as aiming down the sights. ADSing is not possible in original Fallout 3, and also there's actually no way of playing this on PC. I have my PS3 version still, so I can still play this, but yeah, I don't have a way of recording PS3 games. Number 13 for me is going to be Stardew Valley. So I doubt any one of you watching this video are from the very beginning of the channel, where I was actually streaming my platinum playthrough. I called it my Plata playthrough of Stardew Valley. Start to finish, it took me 187 hours, and I got the 100% platinum on the game, which is not 100% in the game, because there's actually way more to do than that. But yeah, Stardew Valley, really, really fun game. I can see why people play this for 1,000 hours. There's so much to do, and at the end of it, I got a little burned out, but my farm, you know, it was very fun. I sacrificed so much to complete the platinum. I married Penny, and I had a truffle pig farm with like 90 or 120 pigs, and then I also had oh gosh, I can't remember the name, ancient fruit farm on Ginger Island, I believe. And to complete the platinum and just to save time, I had to ruin my marriage to Penny and just wake up and collect truffles and go to bed every single day and just sell, because it's such a money intensive thing. So 187 hours, that was me like really rushing that platinum for the last 40 or so. And I would never do that again, because this game is designed to just be played and treated as a chill adventure, and it's not designed to be completed. Number 12 for me is going to be Dota 2 at 193 hours. This is another freshman year video game for me. You know, all these freshman year video games I'm talking about, they were actually first semester freshman year, because I did not play video games that much my second semester. That's when I joined the Magic Club and I started playing Magic all the time. But Dota 2, you know, it came out in 2013, so it was relatively new. There was a lot of people still learning the ropes of Dota 2. It was honestly the perfect time to get into Dota 2 and to get into MOBAs in general, and yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of fun playing with John and Jeremy. Yeah, we've been friends for that long, and I would play Dota 2 again, to be honest with you, but I don't really like playing anything in Dota 2 that isn't PvP, and John doesn't like PvP for very good reasons, because this is can be a very toxic game to play online. But yeah, I like Dota 2 and I would love to play it again. I just haven't in actually 10 years. I think the last time I played Dota 2 was a match or two in 2015, so it's been 10 years since my last time playing the game. Number 11 for me is going to be Mortal Kombat X at 204 hours. So I played Mortal Kombat X. It was my first PS4 game. I played it on launch day, and I played it all the way until Fallout 4 came out. Fallout 4 is when I left MKX. And you might say, well, that's a long time. How's it only 204 hours when you were doing all this other stuff with these other games? And it's because I was playing competitive Magic at the same time, so I was keeping up with the metagame. I was going to tournaments and stuff like that. So MKX was not the only thing I was playing, and I was definitely playing way more Magic in 2015, especially since 2015 was the last chance to play my favorite format that Magic has ever had, which is Cons Theros. It's Concept Arc here through Theros, the sets. And yeah, MKX was a lot of fun, but I would be lying to say that MKX was more fun than playing standard of Cons Theros. MKX is definitely my second favorite game in the franchise and one of my favorite video games of all time. I really, really have enjoyed my time with this title, but it's actually a really hard game to go back to these days, because there's not a lot of people online anymore. And the people who are there are honestly quite good, as they should be, And yeah, if you haven't been playing for a long time, and if you're not ready to get dunked on for a long time or grind in the lab and get back to where you were when you were younger playing this game, this is going to be a very, very hard one to go back to. I played it for the last time like 3 years ago, whenever RE4 Remake came out, because I did a little bit of playing of that, because when I was streaming RE4 Remake, I had a person in my comments who I believe his name was Goblin Slayer, and he was playing it at the time, so I played it as well at the same time and really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, playing online is very, very difficult these days, and there's not a lot of single player content. I mean, you're coming to MKX for the gameplay, not for the single player content. So yeah, unfortunately, it's very hard to go back to this one for that reason these days. Number 10 for me is DragonAge Inquisition at 280 hours. So this was a very early PS4 game for me as well. I believe, you know, when I'm thinking about it now, this may actually be part of the reason that I didn't play MKX the summer of 2015 as well. I may have been playing this game actually. DragonAge, as we'll talk about here again very soon, used to be one of my favorite franchises. It's just that we haven't gotten a good game in a while. And I haven't played this game in a while, so I actually don't know how good it is, but I very much enjoyed a lot of the characters here, and I did multiple playthroughs, and it was a game where an individual playthrough was quite long. So four playthroughs or 5 playthroughs or however many I did of this took quite a long time. And yeah, 280 hours. I actually thought it was less. I was actually surprised when I looked at the raw hourage and it was so much. Number 9 for me is DragonAge Origins. I'm estimating this at 300 hours, but I did 6 full playthroughs. I thought a playthrough was like 20 hours because it didn't seem like it was that long. But then when I look at howlongtobeat.com, they time main story at 48 hours. And I'm like, what? And that's without side content. So I estimated this at 50 hours per playthrough because they were not my only playthroughs. They were just my full playthroughs because I did other partial playthroughs as well. So yeah, we're going to estimate this at 300 hours. DragonAge Origins has that origin system where you pick what your origin is going to be before you start the game, and then you start that can impact decisions you make later on. It's something that for the life of me, I will never understand, that other companies have not done. I don't get it because it's such a genius way to set up an RPG. Baldur's Gate 3 had this to some degree because you can at least set up your background and have choices for that background in the game, but it's not the same as playing through the origin and then going on the quest. Oh my god, I want to replay DragonAge Origins so bad because this game is legitimately one of the greatest RPGs in terms of the choices you can make that has ever been released. I love this game to pieces. This is definitely one of my favorite games ever made. Number 8 here is actually my favorite game ever made, though, and that's Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm estimating at 200 to 300 hours, but this is the game I was referring to specifically when I said games that I had on PS1 and PS2 and PS3 that I don't know how much I've played of. There's a funny little thing with trying to figure out your hourage with Final Fantasy Tactics as well, because the hourage counter doesn't go above 99 hours and 59 minutes. It doesn't go higher than that. And I at least had 2 saves at that, which means I had 2 saves that were at least 100 hours. And let me tell you something about Final Fantasy Tactics. I love playing this game start to finish in challenge runs, and my favorite way to play this game is basically I random 6 jobs that Ramza can use, and then whenever I get a new character, I random 3 jobs of those 6 that they're allowed to use. So it's like he's my commander, right? He can do everything, but every other character is a little bit more limited. And then I do an Iron Man playthrough with no unique characters. So whenever I get a new unique character, I strip them down and then complete their main quest and then release them. So no Sidolphus saving my run on this particular one, although I will definitely use Excalibur. But yeah, I love doing this. I've had some really, really fun combinations for jobs doing it that way. And some of those runs are failures and some are successes. But that's why this is a 200 to 300 hour estimate, because I'm actually sure that it's double that, to be honest with you, at least. Number 7 for me is going to be Dark Souls at 328 hours. This one I played when I was going through a very bad fit of depression in my adult life, so this is an adult life game. My first playthrough was actually on PS3, so I don't have those, so it's probably actually maybe 330, because I added the like approximately 60 hours to my 270 plus hours on PS4. And yeah, I played this game when I was very depressed. I was using it as my way of relaxing after work, and I got the 100% complete platinum on it. So yeah, that's Dark Souls 1 for me. It's definitely my most played From Software game as a result of that, and to be quite honest with you, I could play this game again. Number 6 for me is going to be Fallout 4 at 349 hours. Like I said, I stopped playing MKX partially because of Fallout 4, and once Fallout 4 came out, I got it on launch day. I stopped playing Magic for a while. This was after Consteros was done. Consteros ended in like August, I think, so it didn't have the same conflict, right? I wasn't playing Magic the same way. The new format that replaced it, Consteros, was not near as fun. It was Battle Cons, and Battle Cons was not near as fun as Consteros. It wasn't near as open either. And yeah, Fallout 4, you know, all that spare time that I would have been playing Magic, that I normally would have been playing Magic, I was playing Fallout 4 instead, and really had a good time with this one. I did 8 full playthroughs, I think, and yeah, I had a really good time with this one. This one I felt like was overhated for Fallout games. You know, I think I actually like it better than Fallout 3 for sure. And then yeah, I think this one was way overhated. The critiques that people had with it were very valid critiques. I don't really like the way that they chose to change the dialogue options in this particular game. But when I really put Fallout 3 and 4 next to each other, Fallout 4 just has way more fun gameplay, and there's way more stuff to do. And that's what I'm looking for from a Bethesda open world RPG. And I think Fallout 4 actually had some good RP to it as well. I think another big critique I never agreed with this game was the ludonarrative dissonance. This was, oh my god, I hate when people started using that word in critique of games in stupid ways. And I felt like the critique of Fallout 4 for ludonarrative dissonance was so dumb back in 2015. Because the whole idea was like, you're questing for your kid, but then you can go and do infinite things. And like, what did people want? Did they want people, they didn't want you to, Bethesda railroad you on the main quest? Is that what you wanted? It's your fault that this dissonance is happening. You don't have to play the way the game, you don't have to play the game so that you don't do the quest. I always did the main quest first because I thought it was a fun one, and I liked to RP my character when I was doing it, and I felt like you had to do that to RP the character, which maybe that's the critique. They should have done that. To RP the character, it feels like you have to do the main quest. I don't feel like ludonarrative dissonance was the right way for people to critique the way the narrative in Fallout 4 works, but it was the way that a lot of people chose to do it back in 2015. But yeah, I enjoy the game. I will solidly say that, and you can hate me in the comments below because I know it's a contentious game in the series. Maybe people reflect on it more positively in the shadow of Fallout 76, though. Number 5 is going to be Rainbow Six Siege at 377 hours. Rainbow Six Siege is the COVID game. So we played Titanfall 2 in COVID for sure, but when COVID really started taking off in the United States and things started shutting down and you were home all day, that was Rainbow Six Siege. It was actually my suggestion. I asked my friends, you know, I've been wanting to play Siege for a long time. It's on sale for $10. We don't work right now. Like, the big thing that was stopping me from playing this is that it has a very high skill floor, and I don't really want to jump in after a full day of work. Yeah, 2 of them joined in with me, and then Ryan joined in later, I believe. I might be misremembering that. I don't remember exactly when Ryan joined in. There was like a core set of 3 of us that played, and then somebody else joined in. I don't remember if it was Ryan or one of the other 2 people. And then we had a full set of 5. We had a full stack for this game, and yeah, we would play this. We'd get up in the morning, and those other guys, you know, they worked factory jobs, but then the factories closed down, and when the factories closed down, we played this game for like 12 hours a day sometimes. And then we'd take breaks from time to time to do other things because the grind was getting to us. But yeah, this was the COVID game. Would not have 377 hours in this game if it wasn't for COVID. Number 4 for me is Final Fantasy XIV at 444 hours. This is an MMO, so that hourage count kind of makes sense, especially when you consider I was playing back in 2017. Heaven's Sword was still relatively new at the time. Well, actually, no, it wasn't, and it was getting replaced very soon. Actually, I think it got replaced while my brother and Justin and I were playing, actually. If I remember right, we stopped when the new expansion came out, and I hadn't finished Heavensward yet. I hadn't finished the main campaign for Heavensward. And the reason why is I was grinding up all jobs to max level, and that takes a long time. And I would have kept going, but you know what stopped me? Dark Souls 2. The 444th hour is the end of this because I started playing the Souls series. And that's why. Yeah, I love Final Fantasy XIV. This is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, as you guys saw on my Final Fantasy ranking last month. Big fan of this. I'd love to play it again, although my brother and I would not be able to play together anymore. He does not have the time for this anymore, and he would not want to commit even, I think, a small number of hours a week to this game anymore. But I loved it. It was a good bit of bonding time for my brother and I. We did that in 3 months while I was student teaching. Basically, I would get home from student teaching and we'd get on the game and play from like 4 to 10 every night for 3 months straight, pretty much. I loved it. I had a really good time with this one, and every time I think back on it, this was the game that my brother and I really bonded over, and it's very special for that reason. And I would love to go back and do at least just one more of those sessions, because they were just something else. Number 3 for me is Overwatch at 556 hours. I played Overwatch when it came out, and it came out in the summer. So July 2016 is when I did most of my Overwatch playing. And yeah, if I wasn't working and my friends weren't over, I was playing Overwatch. I didn't have actually the ability to play Overwatch in college because I didn't have the right modem to connect to the internet or whatever else hoops they wanted you to jump through to be able to play online games on college Wi-Fi. So I play it on breaks, and when I was on break, I played so much Overwatch that first year and part of that second year. Then back when 2017 or 2019 rolled around, I played again for a lot. And then I played a lot in 2020 and 2021. 2021 was actually my only time being able to play in a full stack. I had solo queued for most of this time frame. And then in 2021, I convinced Ryan and my Rainbow Six crew to get with me together. And John actually played for a little bit too. And yeah, we played Overwatch for maybe the last 80 hours of this total. So yeah, this is a game that actually I have a rule when I'm reviewing. I call it my Overwatch rule, where if a game is a live service title or has updates that fundamentally change the game, I actually do not allow it to hit my top 100 of the decade of release outside of the blue category. So if you're not familiar with the channel, I have 2 categories. Red basically means the game is safe from being removed for a long time, and blue, it means it's first round of cuts when I'm starting to look for things to cut and put something else on the list. So yeah, my Overwatch rule, it actually came into effect this year for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, a game I very much enjoy, but could easily be ruined by content updates and poor balancing decisions. So yeah, Overwatch, big game for me. I will never be able to play it again because 1, it's not an experience I'm looking for anymore, and then 2, you can't play Overwatch 1 anymore. It doesn't exist. And even if it did, it wouldn't be Prime Overwatch. Prime Overwatch was like back in the day, dude. It was before a lot of the characters started breaking the game, and it was a good time back when it was a thing. This is like one of the only ones on this list where it's like you had to be there. Garry's mod maybe is one of those as well, because Garry's mod's prominence on YouTube was a time that you just had to be there for. And then Overwatch, like Prime Overwatch, you just had to be there. There wasn't anything else on the market like it. And yeah, even when Marvel Rivals came out, the natural transferable skills of Overwatch that went over into it were so clear that there was no early Overwatch era for Marvel Rivals except for the first month of launch. And then after that, it was gone, dude. There was no early era anymore. So this the first maybe 200 hours of this 556 is actually impossible to replicate these days because of how many transferable skills a lot of people have from the Overwatch days and now from Marvel Rivals. Number 2 for me is actually my second favorite game of all time and is probably lowballed as well, and that's Age of Empires 2, which I have timed at 700 plus hours. And it is part of the reason why that is I played this in high school. This was a high school weekend game. I would go to my grandma's and play Age of Empires 2 a lot. And then in my adult life, I actually replayed the game. I picked it up, the HD version, on Steam, and I played 200 hours, I think. So that's where the estimate comes in, because I'm pretty sure I played way more than 500 hours as a kid, just like with Fallout 3 and Fallout everything else, you know? So this is an estimate. This one I would love to do a review on Age of Empires 2 for the channel, because I do genuinely really love this game, and I actually have things to say about this game that a lot of people within the RTS space don't really talk about. So yeah, this is on my list to play again at some point in the future, and yeah, this is a timeless masterpiece in my opinion, just as a prelude to that. And the number 1 most played game that I can reasonably guess the numbers at is Skyrim. I did 20 playthroughs of Skyrim, and one of them was a completionist playthrough that took 111 hours. The average playthrough was to level 40 or 50. That's a lot of time, okay? So I'm lowballing at 800 hours, but it's probably over 1,000. Skyrim was my second PS3 game. So this is the game that made me stop playing MK9, and I got it in the summer. A high schooler in the summer. This is a recipe for disaster. I got maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night the first whole month that I played this, and I was playing it for maybe 20 hours a day, honestly. That's how much Skyrim was, how just mind-blowing it was going from the PS2 right to Skyrim. These days, I'm not a big Skyrim fan. I'm not. There's a lot of design decisions I disagree with in Skyrim. It's one of these things where the skill floor is so low that it's nice. It's a great baby game, right? It's perfect for getting people into video games. But like the skill ceiling, like if the floor is here, right? I'm trying to make my hand parallel with the screen so you can see. If it's here, the skill floor, right? And it's like bare minimum. The ceiling is like right here. And that means that like I have no reason to play this game anymore. You know, RPGs are honestly quite like that, where they're not really that far apart unless you're talking about older RPGs or CRPGs. But Bethesda RPGs are really not that far apart ever. And really what makes it fun to play is the RP-ness of it. But I feel like Skyrim doesn't have a lot of role playability either. So Skyrim may be my most played game, but it is very much not one of my favorite games ever made. And that's a retroactive opinion. Obviously, I've done my playing in Skyrim, and maybe my opinion would be different if I was playing it for the first time tomorrow. But yeah, Skyrim's a game I'm not really particularly interested in playing anymore. I've always liked Oblivion more, even though I played on the PS3 port, which is a notoriously terrible port of Oblivion. It was the PS3 port of Skyrim too, by the way. But I always liked Oblivion more, even after my first playthrough. So I think that's pretty telling if me as a high schooler was able to notice that Oblivion had better RP and better skill, like better buildcraft and stuff like that. If I could notice that as a high schooler who was kind of brainlessly playing games at the time, I'm very confident that I would still feel that way today. I don't even know if I would finish one full playthrough of Skyrim these days if it was brand new. And guys, that's my top 25 most played games of all time, but I would like to throw it back to you now, and I'd like to hear, what are your most played games of all time? What were the games that you spent the most time on? Let's talk about all the time we spent playing video games in the comments below, and while you're down there, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I make new gaming videos every Wednesday and Friday, and if you like this production today, you will love my other and future work. Regardless of what you guys choose to do, thank you for your time today. This was a bit of a long one, and I appreciate you getting this far into the video. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day, my friend.